Buying on the west side of Colorado Springs and buying on the east side can feel like two completely different home buying experiences. And what most people don't understand is that the process of evaluating those homes should be different too. Today, I want to walk you through what actually happens when you're deciding between an older home in a more established mountain setting and a newer, more suburban home on the eastern side of Colorado Springs. Because this decision is not just about which house looks better online, it's about understanding what you need to investigate before you buy, what risks deserve more attention, and what questions you should be asking before you get emotionally committed to a property. I help buyers navigate these kinds of decisions in Colorado Springs, and especially for busy professionals. The goal is not to give you more information to sort through. The goal is to help you understand which information actually matters. So think about this process in 4 phases. First, you define the lifestyle you're actually buying. Second, you evaluate the property based on its age and setting. Third, you investigate the risks that are specific to that home. And fourth, you decide whether the trade-offs still make sense for you and your family. Let's start with phase 1. Before you compare homes, compare the lifestyle. This is where a lot of buyers get the process backward. They start scrolling through homes, find something beautiful, and then try to make their priorities fit the property. Instead, you need to decide what kind of daily experience you're trying to create. If you're drawn to the west side of Colorado Springs, you may be looking for a mountain setting, more established neighborhoods, mature trees, and a more natural feel around the home. A lot of beautiful places were built first. That means you may find the character and the setting you're looking for in an older home and an established neighborhood. But the age and the natural setting of the property can change your due diligence. Now, compare that with the eastern side of Colorado Springs. You're more likely to find newer, more modern homes and neighborhoods with suburban feels. You may have a smaller yard. You may have an HOA, but you may also have neighborhood amenities, a more traditional fenced backyard for kids or pets, and mountain views from your home or neighborhood. Neither one is automatically better. The risk is assuming there are simply 2 different styles of homes. There are actually 2 different sets of trade-offs. Once you understand the lifestyle, phase 2, evaluating the property based on what it actually is. Let's use the west side first. When you're buying an older home, the inspection and due diligence process may need to go deeper. That doesn't mean older homes are bad homes. It means age creates different questions. One example is the sewer line. With an older property, you need to understand what you're buying and whether an older sewer line creates additional concerns. You also have more established trees. Beautiful? Absolutely. But more trees create questions around the property and the natural setting that deserve attention. Then you have fire danger and insurance considerations. Again, the point is not to assume there's a problem. The point is to investigate before you buy. You may also need to think about wildlife, fencing restrictions, more natural yards, and inclined roads that will have to be navigated in the winter. These are things that can be easily overlooked when you're standing in a beautiful home and looking at the setting. And this is exactly why the process matters. The home can still be the right choice. You just want to know what questions to ask before you decide. Now, let's move east. A newer home does not mean you skip inspections. Most inspection considerations are still similar. You still need to understand the condition of the property that you're purchasing, but the risk profile may feel different. The home is younger. There may be less fire risks compared with a natural mountain setting. The yard may be smaller and more traditional. And for families with kids or pets, a fenced backyard may fit daily life better. But now you have another layer to review, the HOA. What does the HOA allow? What restrictions matter to you? What amenities are included in the neighborhood? Does the structure of the community fit the way your family actually lives? This is where buyers sometimes make a mistake. They compare the age of the homes, but they don't compare the responsibilities and restrictions that come with the neighborhoods. If this raises questions about your situation, there's a link in the description where you can get clarity or ask us directly. Now, phase 3 is where we investigate the risks that are specific to the property. And this is probably the part of the buying process that nobody explains clearly enough. An inspection is not just a pass or fail test. The goal is to understand the home. For an older home in a mountain setting, your questions may need to focus more heavily on age, sewer considerations, trees, fire danger, insurance, the natural yard, fencing restrictions, and winter access. You're trying to identify the things that could affect ownership after closing. For a newer home, say on the east side, you still inspect the property, but you may spend more time understanding how the neighborhood itself fits your priorities. The HOA, the amenities, the yard, the fencing, the suburban setting, and whether the home and community still make sense for your long-term plans. This is especially important if you're buying in a higher price range and you see the home as both a lifestyle decision and a financial asset. The biggest risk is not always finding a major inspection issue. Sometimes the bigger risk is buying the wrong type of property for your priorities because you evaluated the finishes instead of the ownership experience. Here's a misconception I hear all the time. Newer means easier. Sometimes it can, but newer does not mean there is nothing to navigate. You still need due diligence. You still need an inspection. And you still need to understand the restrictions and responsibilities connected to the property. Another misconception is that an older home is automatically a risky purchase. That's not the right way to think about it either. The better question is whether you understand the condition of the home and whether you're comfortable with the considerations that come with its age and setting. And one more misconception. Mountain views mean you need to live in the mountain setting. Not necessarily. On the eastern side of Colorado Springs, you're likely to have views of the mountains from your home or neighborhood. So the question becomes very specific. Do you want to live in the mountain environment? Or do you want to look at the mountains from a newer suburban environment? Those are different priorities, and they lead to different buying decisions. That brings us to phase number 4, making the decision. At this point, you should not be asking which side of Colorado Springs is better. You should be asking which set of trade-offs fits us better. If you value established neighborhoods, a mountain setting, mature trees, and more natural yards, you may decide the additional due diligence is worth it. But you need to go into the decision understanding the sewer, the insurance, the fire, the wildlife, the fencing, the winter road conditions that may apply to the property. If you value newer construction, modern homes, suburban neighborhoods, amenities, traditional fenced backyards, and mountain views from a distance, the east side may align better. But you need to understand the HOA and the weather and the smaller yard and the neighborhood structure and make sure they work for your lifestyle. This is where guidance matters, not because someone else should choose the house for you. They shouldn't. But when you're busy with careers, family, schedules, and everything else happening in your life, it is easy to miss a question simply because you didn't know you needed to ask it. The process should help you expose those questions before you make the decision. So if you're buying a home in Colorado Springs and comparing the west side with the east side, don't just compare square footage, finishes, and the view from the kitchen. Compare the ownership experience, compare the due diligence, compare the risks you're comfortable managing, and compare the lifestyle you're actually trying to create. That's how you make a confident decision without finding out after closing that an overlooked trade-off mattered more than you expected. If this was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And check out the next video. It builds on what we just talked about and will help you take the next right step.